Welcome to Speak English with me.
Improve your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation with our engaging lessons.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak English with me. Before we get started, if these conversations help you feel more confident speaking English, don't forget to follow the podcast and share it with another English learner. Now, let's talk about something we all do almost every day, making plans.
I love this topic because it sounds simple, but it's one of the biggest challenges for English learners. You might know lots of vocabulary, but when someone suddenly says, "Are you free this weekend?" your mind can go completely blank.
It happens so often. You're ready to talk about hobbies, food, travel, maybe even your job. Then someone invites you somewhere, and suddenly you're thinking, wait, how do I answer naturally?
And that's the difference between studying English and living in English. Real conversations don't come with subtitles or preparation time.
They really don't. Imagine you're at work, school, or even on vacation. Someone smiles and asks, "Do you have any plans after work?" That's not just a question. It could be the beginning of a friendship.
Or the beginning of a really fun evening. Maybe they're inviting you for coffee. Maybe they're going to a concert. Maybe they're just looking for someone to walk home with. We never know where a simple conversation can lead.
That's why today's episode is all about sounding natural when you make plans in English. We'll look at useful expressions, realistic conversations, and little details that make you sound much more confident.
And don't worry about trying to memorize every sentence. Listen for the patterns instead. Native speakers usually recycle the same kinds of expressions in different situations.
Let's start with one of the most common questions you'll ever hear. Are you free? You can finish it in many ways. Are you free tomorrow? Are you free after class? Are you free this evening? It's short, friendly, and it doesn't put pressure on the other person.
That's an important point. You're giving them space to answer honestly. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they already have plans. Maybe they're free and hoping someone invites them somewhere.
Let's hear a natural conversation. Hey, Emma, are you free on Saturday afternoon?
I think I am. Why? Do you have something in mind?
A few friends are going to the new food market downtown. I thought it would be fun if you came with us.
That sounds great. I've been wanting to check that place out for weeks.
Notice Emma's reply. I've been wanting to. That's a very natural way to say you've wanted to do something for some time.
You could say, I've been wanting to watch that movie, or I've been wanting to visit that museum. It's a phrase you'll hear all the time.
Here's another question you'll hear everywhere. Do you have any plans?
I use that one a lot because it's such an easy conversation starter.
Me too. For example, do you have any plans this weekend?
Not yet. I'm keeping my schedule pretty open.
Well, would you like to join me for a hike on Sunday morning?
I'd love to, as long as you promise not to choose one of those mountains that feels impossible to climb.
I can't promise that.
See, this is why I always ask questions before saying yes.
That's another thing learners sometimes forget. Conversations aren't just questions and answers. We react, we joke, we tease each other a little. That's what makes the conversation feel alive.
Speaking of that, can I tell you about one of the funniest invitations I've ever received?
Please do.
A friend texted me, "Wear comfortable shoes tomorrow." That was the whole message.
That's it?
That was it. No explanation, no location, no time. Just wear comfortable shoes tomorrow.
I would have had about 20 questions.
I did. I replied, "Why? Are we walking somewhere? Going hiking? Escaping from something?"
That's a fair question.
He finally told me we were visiting a huge outdoor market. We walked for nearly 6 hours, so the comfortable shoes were actually very good advice.
I like that story because it reminds us that making plans usually develops step by step. People don't always tell you everything in the first sentence.
That's true. Making plans is often like putting together a little puzzle. First, you decide what you're going to do. Then you figure out when, where, and how you're going to get there.
Here's another useful expression. What are you doing this weekend? Now, sometimes people ask this because they're curious. Other times, they're quietly checking whether you're available before inviting you somewhere.
So if someone asks you that question, don't be surprised if an invitation comes next.
For example, What are you doing this weekend?
Nothing special. Why do you ask?
I'm thinking about going to the beach on Sunday. Would you like to come?
That sounds like a wonderful idea. Count me in.
Count me in is another great expression. It simply means, yes, I'd like to join.
And here's one final tip before we continue. If you don't understand someone's invitation, don't panic. You can always say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "Did you mean this Saturday?" Asking for clarification is a normal part of conversation, and it keeps the discussion moving instead of ending it.
That's one of the best habits you can develop as an English learner. You don't need perfect English to make plans. You just need the confidence to keep the conversation going.
And once you do that, you'll discover that some of the best memories begin with a very simple question. Are you free this weekend?
You know, something else happens after you've invited someone somewhere. The conversation doesn't just stop with a yes or no. Usually, that's when people start talking about the details.
That's true. Making plans is often like putting together a little puzzle. First, you decide what you're going to do, then you figure out when, where, and how you're going to get there.
Let's imagine I've already accepted your invitation. Great, so what time were you thinking?
How about 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
That works for me.
Perfect. Let's meet outside the train station.
Simple, natural, and something you'll hear all the time. That works for me is a wonderful expression because it sounds friendly and flexible.
It also tells the other person that you're happy with the suggestion. You don't have to keep saying, "Yes, that's okay." Native speakers often use little expressions like, "Sounds good," "That works for me," or "Perfect."
Here's another situation. Sometimes you're interested, but you can't decide immediately.
Oh, I do that more often than I'd like to admit.
Really?
Sometimes my calendar looks empty until I remember 3 different things I've promised people. Then I have to stop and think before I answer.
That's when a useful phrase comes in. Let me check my schedule.
Or you could say, "Let me see what I'm doing that day." Both sound polite because you're being honest instead of giving an answer you're not sure about.
Let's hear another example. Are you free on Friday evening?
I might be, but let me check my schedule first. I'll let you know later today.
No problem. Just send me a message whenever you've decided.
Notice that nobody feels rushed. Good conversations give people room to think.
Now let's talk about something that every English learner worries about. How do you say no without sounding rude?
That's such an important skill because nobody is available all the time.
Imagine I invite you somewhere. Would you like to come to the movies tomorrow night?
I'd love to, but I already have dinner with my family.
That's a lovely answer because you start with something positive.
Right. Saying "I'd love to" shows that you're happy about the invitation, even if you can't accept it.
You could also say, "That sounds fun, but I already have plans."
Or maybe next time. Those 3 words are simple, but they're warm and encouraging.
I remember inviting a friend to a football match once. He couldn't come because he was visiting his grandparents. Instead of simply saying no, he added, "Please invite me again next time."
I like that.
Me too. It made me feel that he genuinely wanted to spend time together. He just wasn't available that day.
Sometimes it's those little extra sentences that make a conversation feel kind.
Here's another expression you'll hear quite often. What do you feel like doing?
I love that question because it opens the door to different ideas.
Maybe one person wants to watch a movie while the other wants to go for a walk. Talking about possibilities is part of making plans.
And don't be surprised if people change their minds. It happens all the time.
Has that ever happened to you?
More times than I can count. I'll spend 20 minutes deciding on a restaurant with my friends, and then someone suddenly says, "Actually, how about pizza instead?"
I think every group has that one person.
We all know someone like that.
The good news is that changing plans doesn't have to be awkward. In fact, native speakers do it constantly, and there are plenty of polite ways to handle those situations.
And that's what we'll explore next, because knowing how to adjust a plan is just as useful as knowing how to make one in the first place.
Speaking of changing plans, I think that's where real life begins. It's easy to make a plan when everything goes perfectly, but life doesn't always cooperate.
That's so true. You wake up feeling great, and then it starts raining. Or your boss asks you to stay late. Or your friend sends a message saying they're running 30 minutes behind.
And suddenly, everyone has to make a new plan.
The nice thing is that English has lots of friendly expressions for these situations, and most of them are surprisingly simple.
Let's imagine we're working on a project together. Hey Emma, are we still meeting tomorrow afternoon to finish the presentation?
I was hoping we could, but something unexpected came up this morning. Would it be possible to meet on Thursday instead?
Thursday works for me. What time were you thinking?
How about 3 o'clock?
Perfect. I'll bring my laptop and we can finish everything then.
That conversation is probably happening somewhere in the world every few seconds. Plans change, people adjust, and nobody thinks it's strange.
One expression I really like is, something came up.
Me too. It's useful because you don't always need to explain every detail. Maybe it's a family matter, maybe another meeting appeared on your calendar, or maybe you just have an unexpected problem to deal with.
If someone says, sorry, something came up, most people understand that life has simply become a little complicated.
Of course, if it's a close friend, you might explain more. It really depends on the situation.
Here's another example. Are we still going cycling on Saturday?
I don't think I'll be able to make it. Something came up and I need to help my sister move into her new apartment.
No worries. Family comes first. We can always go another weekend.
That's a kind response because you're showing understanding instead of frustration.
Now let's move away from work for a moment. Students make plans all the time too.
Oh yes, sometimes it's about studying and sometimes it's about trying very hard not to study.
That sounds familiar.
Doesn't it?
Imagine two classmates talking after class. Have you started preparing for Monday's exam?
Not yet. I was actually wondering if you'd like to study together this weekend.
I'd be happy to. I always understand things better when I can discuss them with someone else.
Same here. Let's meet at the library around 10.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan is another expression you'll hear everywhere. It simply means, I like that idea.
Here's something I've noticed about confident English speakers. They don't always try to create the perfect plan immediately.
That's true. Sometimes they only decide on the first step.
They might say, let's meet for coffee and then we'll decide what to do.
I actually enjoy those kinds of days. They feel relaxed because there's room for surprises. You don't have to organize every single hour.
Some people are careful planners though.
That's definitely me. I like knowing what time we're leaving, where we're meeting, and even how long it'll probably take to get there.
I'm almost the opposite. I make one plan, then somehow I end up doing 3 completely different things.
I believe that.
Last month, I planned to spend 1 hour at a bookstore. I bumped into an old friend, we had lunch together, walked through a park, and somehow the entire afternoon disappeared.
Those unexpected moments are often the ones we remember the most.
They really are. And that's another reason learning these expressions is so valuable. Good English isn't only about grammar. It's about being able to keep the conversation going when life doesn't follow the schedule you expected.
Whether you're arranging a meeting, planning a weekend, or deciding where to have dinner, the goal isn't to sound perfect. The goal is to communicate clearly, stay flexible, and enjoy the people you're spending time with.
You know, there's one part of making plans that nobody really enjoys.
Let me guess, canceling them?
That's the one. Most of us feel a little guilty when we have to tell someone we can't make it anymore.
Especially when you've been looking forward to it. Sometimes you have every intention of going and then life suddenly changes your schedule.
The good news is that English gives us plenty of polite ways to handle those moments.
And one of the simplest is being honest.
Imagine this conversation. Hey Emma, are we still meeting for lunch tomorrow?
I was really looking forward to it, but I'm afraid I have to cancel. My cousin just arrived from another city and my family is getting together this afternoon.
Thanks for letting me know. Family visits don't happen every day. We can always meet another time.
Notice that I didn't just say, I can't come.
Right, you gave a short reason and you also showed that you were disappointed about missing the lunch.
That's an important detail because it tells the other person that you still value the invitation.
Another phrase you'll hear often is, can we reschedule?
I like that expression because it doesn't end the conversation. It simply moves the plan to another day.
Let's hear another example. Are we still going to the museum on Saturday?
Would it be okay if we rescheduled? I completely forgot that my nephew has a football tournament that morning.
Of course. How about next weekend instead?
That works much better. Thanks for being flexible.
Thanks for being flexible is a wonderful phrase to remember because you're appreciating the other person's understanding.
Here's something else I've noticed. People sometimes apologize too much.
I know what you mean. They'll say, I'm so sorry 5 or 6 times. One sincere apology is usually enough. After that, it's better to focus on finding another solution.
That's good advice. Most people understand that unexpected things happen.
As long as you're respectful and you don't cancel every single time.
That's a different story.
It certainly is. Have you ever had a friend who's always late?
Oh, yes. I have one friend who believes every journey takes 10 minutes, even when everyone knows it takes at least half an hour.
I think we all know someone like that.
We arranged to meet for coffee once. I arrived on time, ordered my drink, finished half of it, and only then did I receive a message saying, I'll be there soon.
How much longer did you wait?
About 25 minutes.
You're much more patient than I am.
Well, we've been friends for years, so I know that's just part of his personality. But if you're running late, it's always polite to send a quick message.
Even something simple like, I'm running about 15 minutes late. Sorry, I'll be there as soon as I can.
That small message makes a huge difference because the other person knows what's happening instead of wondering where you are.
There's another expression I really like. No worries.
That's one of my favorites too.
If someone apologizes for being a little late or changing a plan, replying with no worries helps keep the conversation relaxed.
Of course, if someone keeps canceling or arriving late every week, you might start saying something different.
Maybe something like, should we pick another day when you're less busy?
That's a polite way of saying, let's make a plan that actually has a better chance of happening.
I like that because it's positive instead of blaming the other person.
At the end of the day, making plans isn't only about choosing a time and a place, it's also about showing respect for other people's time, communicating clearly when something changes, and finding solutions together instead of getting frustrated.
Those little habits make every conversation smoother, whether you're talking to a close friend, a coworker, a classmate, or someone you've only recently met.
And once those expressions become natural, you'll spend less time worrying about what to say and more time enjoying whatever you've planned together.
Before we finish, let's do our word tour.
First, are you free? A friendly way to check whether someone is available.
Do you have any plans? A natural question that often leads to an invitation.
What are you doing this weekend? Sometimes it's simple curiosity, and sometimes it's the beginning of making plans.
That works for me. A polite way to say you're happy with someone's suggestion.
I've been wanting to. A useful phrase for talking about something you've wanted to do for a while.
Let me check my schedule. Perfect when you need a little time before giving an answer.
I'd love to, but a warm and respectful way to decline an invitation.
Count me in. An enthusiastic way to say yes.
Something came up. A common expression for explaining that an unexpected situation has changed your plans.
Can we reschedule? A polite way to ask if you can move the plan to another day or time.
No worries. A friendly response when someone apologizes for a small problem.
And finally, sounds like a plan. A simple expression that tells someone you like their idea.
Here's a little challenge for everyone listening. Think about something you'd like to do this week. Maybe it's meeting a friend, visiting a new cafe, going for a walk, or watching a movie. Now, try describing that plan in English using some of today's expressions. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
We hope today's conversation has given you the confidence to make plans in English without overthinking every sentence. Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember that every conversation is another chance to improve.
Thanks for spending your time with us today. We always enjoy these conversations, and we hope they make your English journey a little easier and a lot more enjoyable. Until next time, take care and keep speaking English every chance you get.